Hi, I'm Sabine, the Purpose Lawyer. Thank you for listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast. It really goes a long way. It helps us spread the good word. And if you or anybody you know is in the market for legacy or estate planning or business or trademarks, please reach out to our firm. It's the Ambitious Legacy Firm. We are licensed in New York and New Jersey, but we have service partners in all states. So we'd love to work with you. Asset protection, legacy planning, trademarks. We got you. It's theambitiouslegacyfirm.com. Now let's get into the episode. Welcome to another episode of the Ambitious Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Sabine, the Purpose Lawyer. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for helping me be on purpose. So this week, I'm kind of just venting a little bit because I'm in the middle of a hiring process at my firm. And, you would think that it's just easy. There's candidates out there. You could just, put out an ad, find somebody, and it's good to go. But it really isn't, right? It's so challenging nowadays. There's a couple of things that's going on. There's people who don't want to work in person. There is people who don't want to work, period. There is just like an overabundance of maybe people who believe they're qualified for a certain position, or they want like $1 million because, we're in the place where we are, right? Thank you, COVID. So, but given that, even before that, like it's just a challenge. And being able to like lead people for a few years, I realized that you can't just have anyone be part of your culture, right? It's a process. There is the right fit, there is the right chemistry, and it needs to be as much of a marriage, as a marriage is, right? Like you're at work more than you're home most of the time. And so this is the type of thing that really takes some finessing, and you can't just be really quick about it, right? And so I wanted to, this kind of sort of brought up some things for me because a lot of my skill set in terms of selecting the right person, or my perceived skill set, right, comes from me thinking about the type of employee that I was. Because fun fact, in my opinion, was a terrible employee because I was very focused on dollars. Like I just wanted to make money. I wasn't thinking about like the role, like, is this a role I really want to be in, like long term, how does this fit into my big picture? There was none of that for me back then before I actually became an attorney and started my own firm. I worked in different corporate roles. I worked in mortgage companies, banks. I worked for a venture finance firm. And so I had good jobs. I was actually good in terms of learning quickly, picking up, being able to execute. But my problem is I would get bored, right? Because I didn't really think through like actually obtaining this role. So anyways, I think about all the things that I did once I got bored and how like my decline began in each particular role where I was just like, yeah, I need to get a new job. So I think about that, and that's what I use to sort of evaluate. But I'm not like really skilled, right? It's not my avenue in terms of selecting employees. And I realized that it is a skill, right? It's a true talent. And so my next guest today, I still have a lot to learn. She's teaching me some things, right? She's helping me in this hiring process. And it's so funny because like we'll do an interview and I'll be like, I really like that person. And she's like, girl, didn't you see XYZ or hear XYZ? That doesn't work for you. Maybe a great candidate, but it's not for you. And that's what I mean by that. But thank God for people like her. She's an HR consultant. She's super versed in this area, and she's really just beginning her journey, right, in terms of building her own empire. She's going to tell us all about that. So I hope you guys enjoy this interview as much as I did. Let's get talking to Christlie G. Welcome, Christlie. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
It is definitely my pleasure. So, Christlie is an amazing woman who does so many things, but her main career is an entrepreneur, and she has a company called Christlie G Consulting, which you'll tell me all about. It's in the HR realm, but there's so many areas that you guys cover. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about how you got into this space of HR. I would say that I don't know this area to be one where you see a lot of people of color. So let me know how that kind of went.
That is so true.
Okay.
It's funny because I actually didn't know anything about HR until I saw a woman of color in that role
Mm.
and said, be that in that role.
Oh, nice.
Um, so I started my career with Target,
Mhm.
started off as an intern, moved up, and became like the HR manager at a store,
Mm.
and then evolved and kind of going to different companies. So really steering through retail with Target and JCPenney doing HR, moving
Mhm.
up to others in HR would call like HRBP. That's like the dream role right there.
Oh, nice.
To be a business partner because that's kind of like the marriage between operations and HR.
Okay.
And then I moved on to joining Avis Budget Group, where I kind of ran from an HR perspective, I
Mhm.
ran all the airports in New York State.
Oh, wow.
I partnered in supporting Pennsylvania, New Jersey, when that HRBP was on leave,
Mhm.
Connecticut, and Massachusetts. So really kind of like the Northeast region,
Mhm.
I really kind of supported from that point. And then I went on to a cybersecurity firm, and I became the global HR business partner. So I had covered
Girl.
multiple,
That's
and
awesome.
it was great. It was short lived because I think that was the trigger in starting. I mean,
Mhm.
I owe a lot to the Brooks Alliance family
Yes.
with Shaquana,
Yes.
which
We'll give a shout out to Brooks Alliance, Miss Business, Shaquana
is
Brooks.
everything Brooks related. I have to shout them out. So
Mhm.
I had already been consulting on the sideline,
Okay.
doing sexual harassment investigations in Philippines for one company.
Mhm.
I was also helping with Brooks Alliance with staffing and getting their team together. So like I had already been doing stuff on the sideline as a consultant, but
Mhm.
I was still keeping my 9 to 5,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
And when I became global HR business partner, I remember working from 5 a.m.
Wow.
to midnight every day,
Every
like
day.
even on weekends. Like, and
Oh
I
my
did it
God.
with my son. And I remember I got fired, which I always like to tell people.
Mhm.
Like, I want to make it clear, I did not quit. I
Mhm.
was low. I was fired. And the
Wow.
reason I was fired was because I just couldn't get it. Like I didn't understand that particular sector.
Okay.
And I came to the realization that be strong and great and good at what you know.
Mhm.
And so, that same day I got fired,
Mhm.
who the person at Brooks Alliance known as Lisa, who is the
Mhm.
operator, I called her quickly and told her, and she was like, "You need to talk to Shaquana right now."
Yeah.
And Shaquana called me and she was like, "Thank God you got fired." I was
What?
like,
Mhm.
she was like, "It's about time." I'm like, "Girl, I have bills to pay."
Right.
My husband and I just closed on a property like
Mm.
before,
Wow.
and to then go from living this great life to now terminated, it was
Mhm.
tough. Really, I had already been doing it for years as
Right.
a side hustle. I had worked with some agencies, but now it was like full on
Mhm.
bread and butter. So in the course of, the pandemic
Mhm.
and now I feel like we've grown so much
I'm
and
sure. Mhm.
crazy deals. So I do have a team of 4 now.
Okay.
And we
Let me dig a little before we get into your team and everything. So I think that's fascinating that you started at Target in retail and you found your way into corporate. And I don't think many people know that that's an avenue. So like, how did you discover that?
So one of the things with retail,
Hmm.
it's a tough place to leave because
Mm-hmm.
retail they will feed you a lot of money. A lot of people don't know this,
Hmm.
but retail companies like Walmart, JCPenney, Target,
Hmm.
they will pay managers a bucket load. Uh,
Really?
And then when you're applying for corporate jobs, the roles don't like this. They believe the corporate companies believe that the skills can't transfer. So they
Mm-hmm.
justify paying you for your current salary.
Right.
For me, I came to the realization very quickly in wanting to really go straight corporate.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I had to take a pay cut. A lot of us that leave retail to
Mm-hmm.
go to corporate America understand that we have to take a pay cut and we kind of have to downgrade our position. So
Okay.
I went to OTG management in the airport
Mm-hmm.
and managed LaGuardia Newark and JFK as the HRBP.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, I'm like that. I could do more, but
Right.
I took a hit for. Not a lot of people are willing to make that sacrifice, but I sacrificed 2 years and took a $25,000 pay cut because I wanted to be in corporate America.
Yeah.
And so that's what is open to you. You just gotta know how to flex it.
Yeah. And that's big because so many people, especially now, don't see the value in taking a pay cut to learn a skill and do what you got to do to be able to then, level up like you did. Because then you ended up at this big corporate giant. And also people don't realize that you may want that big corporate giant, but there's a price to pay for that as well, right? With the lifestyle and all that other good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So now you're doing your own thing. How does it feel going? I know you didn't choose to. How did it feel from going? Actually, before we get to that, I like that you said that you were vulnerable in the fact that I couldn't get it, right? I didn't get what they wanted me to get. And so that's okay, right? Like to give people permission, that's okay. You're probably wonderful at something, which you've proven, right? But whatever it is that you were trying to pursue, maybe that wasn't the avenue. Do you see that people do? Are people struggling with that realization or?
Yeah, like people, I think the biggest thing for me, like I'm very self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
So I can quickly navigate like these are my strengths, this is where I'm not great at, right? And in that, a lot of people kind of want to, because they want to get the job, they want to secure the role, they want to get them, they're willing to take on the role, work crazy, insane hours like I did, or like just fail completely. And the thing is, you don't have to do that. There's a role for everyone, there's a place for everyone. You just got to navigate it and really leverage your strengths the most. Well, I enjoy HR. I don't enjoy all of HR.
Okay.
Right? But I know what parts I like. And I realized, hey, this division that they had me doing, I hate that part of HR. And so it was a lot that wasn't presented to me when I had accepted the role, but I learned where I was like, yeah, I'm never doing that ever again. That, but I'm great at this, right? So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And it's interesting how it's really a marriage. I don't think like coming up, I wasn't taught just, in different roles. I didn't realize that it's like you have to choose a company as much as they're choosing you, right? So it's like you both have to see if it's a good fit. And that's how you get longevity in a place because you realize what's good for you. If it works for them, there is a place where you can find synergy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a big thing. I think a lot of people would want to get a job for the money, but then they don't like culture. Like, hey,
right,
you're going to spend most of your time when you are not at home. You spend more time at work than you do at home like, awake. Because the other time sleeping, right? So like it really is important that you do find the synergy between like you and choosing a role and choosing a company. They all in sync. So I think that's big.
Yeah. All right. So now in your current company, you said you started on your own and you now have a team. How was that transition? Did you feel like any angst about that? Or were you just like, okay, gotta do what I gotta do. This is what's going on.
Yeah, I think you and I had talked about this before, but I read the book or I listened to the audio. My husband be like, you ain't read it, you listen to it.
You know what? It's the same thing.
Like, I hope you see it's the same thing, honey.
Otherwise, it's just like, when am I going to read? Like, at least I got the info.
Rachel Rogers, We Should All Be Millionaires.
Yes.
Really like simplify, like whatever you're doing now, you're going to keep being like a hamster on the wheel until you expand and bring people on.
Mm-hmm.
I just kept saying like, but Rachel kind of talked about for women, and I know for Black, we're always told like, this is how you can save, this is how you can cut this. But Rachel really, her book introduced me to no, just make more money. Like, and it
Facts.
some like nonchalant, like just make more and hire people. And
I
I'm
love
like,
it.
what? So transitioning was a mindset shift, is still a mindset shift for
Okay.
me
Mm-hmm.
because I still do task things that are not within my scope of work
Okay.
because of my anxiety. Like,
I feel you.
I'm like, oh, let me respond. Miriam, there was time. Miriam's like, I got it. Like,
Yeah.
relax. My bad. You
It's
know?
so hard. Like, I love everything that you're saying right now. One, that mindset shift was the biggest thing that I needed. I thought that I had to change this system or add, this software or whatever. And then I came to the point after a couple of years, it was like, girl, if you don't think that you can do it and be like definite about it, it's not going to happen. So that's definitely a major key. And then getting out of the day to day, I'm also still struggling with, because I delegate things, but there are some things where, like you said, you're just like, I can just do this real quick. But it's like, no, then you're paying somebody to do it. Two, like you have other things to do.
Yeah. So I watched a video with like Diddy.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I am the visionary. Like, I have the idea. And then I pay you to execute the vision. And so, like, I'm going to walk around this, MFR and just live my life, and enjoy because I'm creating the vision and y'all
Right.
are. And for me, my friend LaShonda Bracy, she said something like, stop doing $10 jobs.
That's
For
so
some
good.
expensive, but for me, she said it, she was like, you sitting down and sending out emails is in the scope of somebody else's job.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing that, then you've now taken away 10 minutes out of like the CEO's job.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like all these million little, oh, this will take me 2 minutes,
Right.
have multiplied to like 40 hours. And you're like, I didn't do no stuff, but just some emails and set up my schedule. So yeah, it definitely.
It's true. And I think, you know what, because like in the CEO role, there's two parts of this. So when you're playing visionary and you're used to being a worker, you're like, I'm doing nothing, like I'm lazy over here, but you're really not. Like, it's essential. You need the space to actually create and to allow the company to walk that out. And then, dang, what was my second thing? I knew I was going to forget the second thing. I know it was about, doing those little things that you shouldn't be doing, that somebody else's job. It'll come back to me. But yeah, like definitely, you need to create that space for you to be able to do the visionary stuff. And I think it's the thing that was sold to us, right? You got to work hard. You got to be hustling. You don't want to be lazy. You don't want to be a couch potato, all those things. So we became worker bees. Like, we were institutionalized, right? Which is for some people, that's their character, and that's okay. We need everybody in every role, but the visionary role is a thing. That's what I had to sort of get to this year.
Agreed. In our culture, and I'm speaking for those out there, I am born and raised under 2 Haitian immigrant parents.
Same.
And, so is Sabine, right? So in our culture, we are like taught, like, because we saw it with our eyes and our parents told us, you have to go to school, you have to work. And then it's like everything has led up to get a good job. Like, the finish line for them, I remember for my mom, understand that I was going to work for Target after graduation.
Right.
She was like, I am embarrassed. Like,
I'm not going to hold you up.
Like, what? Where? I was like, Target. And in her mind, she's seeing like cashiers bagging. And I'm like, Mom, there's a whole other life behind Target.
Right.
And when she saw how I was doing life-wise. Like I had my own place, I had gotten it was like, oh, like
You could
they
do
make
that at Target? Yeah.
y'all make money. And then she saw like, okay, I can help you pay your bills. I could do this. It was like, oh, you really make, so now she doesn't as much, but she still thinks that I should get a job.
Regardless.
Like, girl, you need a job.
My mom stopped after a few years. She was like, okay, she's not gonna get a job. It's so funny. So yeah, so how is it? I know you've seen growth, through the pandemic. What is your projection for the company? Like, what are your wildest dreams?
So there's that documentary on Netflix that she did that. And when I saw what Carol's daughter had done when she sold her company, and then also I have a friend, Marcellus, who's the CEO of Black Fox. The idea of selling the company is quite attractive to me.
It is.
Build up this amazing company, make it profitable, and then sell it. I don't have a tie to it. Now, right now, there are some things that are on the table for expansion in terms of partnership that would skyrocket my company right out of the ballpark of where we're going from 4 people to like 30, right? So I'm very open to partnership. I'm open to selling. I'm open to just, that's my long-term is I don't want to consult forever. What a lot of people don't know is my husband is in real estate development. So when I make profit, I'm investing in his business, right? Because real estate, as long as people pay rent, their rent payment will pay my other expenses. But I want to get out the game, right? I don't want to consult, but right now, I had a very big goal. We really focus in my business. It's private clients, and then there's government contracts, and the government contracts where my focus is on. And so we're already, based on what's been signed in the month of January and February.
Ooh, love it.
We've already hit like contract obligation, not meaning that we got the money yet.
Okay.
Contract obligation, we're definitely going to be hitting the 300,000 mark.
Awesome.
It's like in contract obligation for January, February. So it's just up from here. I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah. I remember now what I was going to say. Well, I'm definitely excited for you. I've seen what you are capable of doing, and that's just a small part of your business, but you're awesome. Your team is awesome. So I know that it's, so let me talk to Christlie now when I can still get her.
You always get me. Don't worry.
But yeah, what you were saying about Rachel Rodgers, about how we should just make more money. Like, it's almost like we didn't think that was an option, right? So now she gave you permission and you're like, wow, I have a company. I can just make more money. I could just find other avenues and, make more money. Because maybe you wouldn't have thought of going after government. Who knows,
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like a different mind shift when, like, her book, she does a lot of cursing, but she simplifies the heck out of such overly thought out processes. And really makes us understand that, like, everything that we know now as women was, indirectly ingrained into us. So we have to keep our minds every single day to just be like, no, I am worthy of being a millionaire.
Right.
Like,
Why not?
Supposed to be a millionaire, right? And that is what I'm going to do. And rather than saying like, oh my God, how am I going to be a millionaire? Like, can I actually become a millionaire? She just like, this is it. This is what you're going to do. Call me when you're done.
Right. When you're done doing it. 100%. Is it that you also provide that service to help people pursue contracts?
So, okay. So the Black Bunker.
Yes,
so
the Black Bunker.
February 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, I said for Black History Month, I am going to offer this one-time session.
Mhm.
And one-time session, I'm just going to give everything that I know,
Yeah.
right? I've been doing. And I literally, I think the fee to join Black Bunker was like probably like $30, right? Because
Okay.
it wasn't really about my, it was literally like, I'm going to give everything.
Like,
The
what can
class,
I do? Mhm.
right. It was Black History Month. And the title Black Bunker, it came about because in a state of emergency, the president goes down to the bunker. And
Mm.
it was a state of emergency for Black owned businesses.
Mhm.
So trying to build kind of like a strategy hub, one-stop shop.
Right.
So 5-hour class, right?
Mhm.
And pretty much everyone's like, we want more, we want more, we want more.
Right.
LaShawn mixed with like my husband was like, you should do a monthly session. So I've done monthly sessions. And then I now transition Black Bunker to a mentorship program, which is ending in May.
Okay.
I won't be bringing back the mentorship program right now
Okay.
because I took what I was teaching
Mhm.
and to show my students, hey, this is possible. I then contracted out the Black Bunker,
Oh,
right?
wow. Awesome.
Right. And was like, let me make this a government contract. Like, why would I sit here and tell you guys, everyone online is going to be a guru, but
Right.
can they show you that I just did it, right?
Mhm.
So while everyone was my mentee, I was like, all right, this is what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Right, y'all? I reached out to such and such. I went to this event. I talked to this person. I built the curriculum. And then now it's starting next week, February 17th, we're going to roll out Black Bunker program to all the minority women businesses in the city of Newark.
Oh, wow.
That's
That is
what
awesome.
we're transitioning, right? So you ask, do you help people with government contracts? I do, but it will be strictly for I'm making it into a contract. There's two reasons for it. One reason is I had to charge small new businesses in order to do it, and I didn't want small businesses paying for it anymore.
Okay.
The way I could do that is to get an agency to fund it. And I don't know how to process grants. I'm not into grants.
Okay.
But with government contracts, I was like, well, let me just go to a city, try it out. I piloted the program in New York City under a subcontract.
Okay.
Gun violence. I did the pilot. I built the curriculum off that pilot. I got paid. The students were free, but my business was getting paid.
Nice.
Then that same pilot and became the prime, right? And then after that, I also am trying to get it in Miami, which more than likely it will probably go through the Miami-Dade College.
Wow.
We're into now. Hopefully by the end of this year, something, the dates will come out for it, right? So the Black Bunker was something that is created for me to now be able to provide the same knowledge and resources, but for free. I will no longer, after May, be charging Black business owners because I've been there before.
Right. Like, it's difficult.
I've been there, right? And then I also, working with small new businesses, I also realized that I have a bandwidth and
yeah.
My bandwidth is tight. I just know where I'm at and it's great. I can flush everything to the city. The city out, you communicate to the city, you ask the city questions, but I'm here once a week to provide you with this session and that's it, right? So
that's awesome.
What I could do, and it streamlined the system. So we're gonna save costs by shutting down a lot of the platforms that we use.
Okay.
And then we'll still be able to, on a business side, we'll still make money off a contract, but then also we'll be able to just have one-stop shop in these multiple cities to just have the Black Bunker course.
I love that. That is so amazing. Look at that. You weren't even trying to do, this big old thing and it just blossomed in. And I think it's because you were coming from a good place and just like wanting to help, like just out of the sort of goodness of your heart. So I know we're running short. So I wanted to ask you, and this kind of flows right into this. What does legacy mean to you? And, you know, how are you envisioning this legacy piece as part of your journey?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to speak straight from my conversations with my husband.
Mm-hmm.
So, Christlie G Consulting is an entity of Ganthier Enterprises, which is a larger company. That's the larger entity, and under that is Black Bunker, Christlie G Consulting. There's real estate. There's everything. There's going to be trucks, vending machines. Right? So that overarching is what we're looking at, which is why it's Christlie G. That G is for Ganthier.
Okay.
But legacy for me is I don't necessarily need to be a household name, but I want my children, children's children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, for the rest of our lives, I want their lives to be as seamless as possible when it comes to money. Money gives you access to a lot. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, but you're not great if you're listen, when you have money, there are decisions that you can make that you can't make if you don't have money.
Right.
So, you know, my husband says this to me, building our legacy for us is starting off by owning multiple properties. Although we're signing these long mortgages that are, you know, whatever years long, by the time our son is in his 30s and married, the same age that we are, he will not have to work. Like, I want his life and his children's life to say, hey, my parents left me a legacy where working is not a requirement of survival, work is a choice. Right now, for us, working is survival.
Right.
We gotta work to eat. If we don't work, we're not eating, right? So for us, it's like we want to build a platform where work is a choice and not a requirement for survival. That's our.
Oh, you said that so beautifully. And that is wonderful. Yes. That should be the goal for everyone. It's like you want to make the next generation's life easier. You want to give them access to opportunities. Imagine all the things you could have thought of. You've made it this far, right? Imagine all the things you could have thought of and done if you weren't worried about, I need to get paid or I need to make sure we make X amount. Like, you probably could have created so much more because look what came out of your passion projects, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Christlie. This was a wonderful conversation.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
Yes. So we'll have you back in the future when you have time. So we'll know about the next level and the next level.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Same. All right. Bye.
Bye.